Hey there, boys and girls of the YouTube world. Today, the Duff Dog and I are gonna go fetch up a dump truck. No, not because we need a dump truck. Look at that majestic sunrise. Because said dump truck is a 58, 59 Chevy, which is Task Force? Is that what those are? Anyway, we got the 13 Mega Cab hooked up, and we had to borrow a trailer, our buddy Jeremy's deck over, because this thing won't fit between the wheel wells of my gooseneck, and it's gonna be heavy. So appreciate Jeremy for that. We need to get ourselves one of these deck overs so that we can haul the telehandler, because I don't have a good way to haul the telehandler currently, and there's times where it would be nice to haul it, like on this occurrence. But anyway, this thing's got a W block in it. I think it's a 409. I bought it a couple years ago, and I just haven't got it home, so we're gonna go get it home. And somebody's camping out, shaken with excitement by the pickup, because they are ready to go for an RID. All right, let's do this. Load up. Let's go. You got all the room in the back of the Mega Cab. All right, I wish you could drive. She's a chilly one this morning. We got all the lights working. This thing's got monster jacks. These things are sweet. No more hand cranking. Not for peasants. Except for his latch doesn't work. We should help him out with that. All right, let's do this. We're going north of the big city of Jamestown, the home of North Dakota, what, State Mental Hospital? I think there's a fancier name for that, but it's where the Nut House is, and the University of Jamestown. The Fightin' Jimmies. I don't think they're fighting, they're just the Jimmies. The Jamestown Jimmies. Who's the Trojans? Minot? What did they call it? The Trojans versus the Jimmies? The something bowl? I don't know. It's been a while since my college days. Well, looks like we got here just in time. They got the tractor out here, so... Oh, it's an alfalfa field this year. I feel like it was a bean field or something before. He's got her out of the hole and moving, so that's a plus. Well, he's got her drug out of the slough. The neighbor brought his Challenger over, Caterpillar, so we should have plenty of manpower. This thing was sunk up to the axles in this slough. We'll maybe show you later, but we'll be able to look at it. But I think we'll get her. It's a lot drier than last time I saw it. The old Spartan. Yeah, you can see just how deep it was. The water line and the rust lines just about up to that hub. Here's a big dog, tandem axle. I'm sure many a critters lived in there at one point. Yeah, where did you say this come from?
This here came from Wimbledon, up from a farm.
Wimbledon.
There you go.
All right, got her in the yard. We're gonna hook the 3-point on it. Try some redneckery. That was the option I was given, was how redneck. I see you already ripped your sleeves off, so we're going full redneck now.
There you go.
Dang it, I'm gonna have to give me one of these things. All right, go ahead. I like this job. I can point and direct and steer. A little bit to the driver's side, Dan. You're doing real good. A little bit to the driver's side.
Power steering sucks on this thing.
I thought that's why you took the sleeves off. Yeah, I think it's because these tires that aren't rolling are finally hitting now. So it's grabbing. Can you rehook and get that cross member on the frame? Let's go full redneck. 11 out of 10. We gotta get to church. The claw. There we go. Might get another foot or two. Oh. We're getting the latches on the ramps now. Just set her there and we'll probably have to push it the rest of the way. You don't just jump down off there anymore? Those days are long gone. Tractor number 2. We can't get the ramps up and we ain't quite got enough tongue weight. The Dodge is sitting higher in the back than when we started, which it shouldn't with a load. We'll bring her on another, 8 feet or so. What are you doing? Did you find some water to go get muddy in? There goes the taillight cover. Come here. I think we got to go a little bit because that pickup don't sit that proud usually. I think if we go another 2 feet, he's just trying to keep it running. It's a John Deere. Nothing runs like one. I think that'll be good. All right, we made her home. No issues. You know, Cummins freaking loved it. Wind was blowing. Set the cruise at exactly the speed limit. We got to get this thing unloaded. This axle does not turn. So we got 4 tires right here. Riverside 8 1/4 20s to be exact, and they are not turning. So transmission's out of gear. So it could be the transmission that's stuck. Could be the rear ends that's stuck. I'm guessing it's brakes that are stuck. So I'm gonna try to lift just a little bit with the telehandler and chain it and pull back and see if we can't get it to move. I don't know what the lift capacity of that loader he had was, but we're gonna try it with this thing. 6,000 pounds what it's rated for, but I don't know if I believe that. Ooh, I don't know if we're gonna be able to get up in there. His loader stuck out further than mine. We'll just squirt the old boom out, but that's gonna decrease our lift capacity. Let's try backing up. It's picking the back of the old telehandler up. And yep, just sliding on the forks. Well, I'll hook a chain. See what happens when we chain and lift and pull. Try number 2. Oh, she's moving. In case you wanted to know how heavy this thing is, the old telehandler's about 2 feet off the ground. I think we should unhook it and flip the ramps down and we'll get her off there though. We're making progress. It's all downhill from here. I never cease to amaze myself with the amount of dumb things I get into.
Just when I think you couldn't possibly be any dumber. And totally redeem yourself!
Oh, now it picks it up with the boom all the way in. Oh yeah, we're golden. Maybe. There we go, just like that. This thing's rated for 6,000 pounds. I could look up how they rate it, but I think it's lifting right there at the pivot point. But anyway, I never would have guessed that it was gonna lift that, Duff. Please don't go underneath it. Hey, let's not go underneath there. Let's get Jeremy's trailer back to him in one piece. And let's get you there in one piece. And me. But yeah. Well, telehandler saves the day. Here I thought I was gonna have to buy a payloader just to unload this thing. All right, we'll be back in a bit. Before we cut this thing up, let me show you what we're after. Them funny looking valve covers. Looks like a couple of the spark plug wires are off, so who knows what was going on there. It's got a fresh coil on it. I think we know what was going on there. Somebody has converted it to an alternator. Should have had a generator. Ooh, it's a one-wire style. Nice upgrade. Got the giant pulley on it for all the high RPM stuff. The mice have had their way with the flexi hose. They're their most favorite delicious kind. Oil bath air cleaner. I think all of the 348 409s come with 4 barrels. Well, or dual quads or tri-power. Never made a 2-barrel 348 409. Pretty sure this is a 409 because the dipstick is on the right, or the passenger side, whereas the 348s were on the other side, but we'll find out more on that later. Ooh, it's even got a core battery. I wonder if there's a date on that thing. Anyway, battery hold down's not in good shape. It's got the dual flexi hose though. I think we're gonna have to take the radiator out so we don't poke a hole in that first. Ooh, it's even got a fan shroud. What a deal. I've never seen one of these trucks with a W block. I've seen them in the 60 to 66s, but never in a 58.9. So I don't know if somebody swapped it in or if it's factory. Are we taking bets if it's got coolant in it? Hopefully it's not rusty water. It's been froze a gazillion times. Sure looking like rusty water. Oh yeah, but she's up to nice green coolant now. Nothing but the finest. Whoops, whoops. Big drain pans matter. Let that drain out for a little bit, blow around in the wind. Go pull the hose off that's still intact. And fan shroud and all that good stuff up top. Ooh, the old combo hex. It's got the flat and the hex. Made in USA. By the Ideal Corporation. Huh. I like Ideal hose clamps. They are ideal for every job. Those flexi hoses, super ideal. These style hose clamps, not so ideal. But the old reciprocating saw is ideal for removing them. Check this farmer fix out. Not only is it a side post converted to a top post, and they have these posts wedged up against the body, which it grounds to, but they couldn't get that clamp tight, so they just rammed a screw in there. Brilliant. Brilliant! Self-tapper, no doubt. Oh yeah, it comes right off. Got some handy dandy battery adapters out of the deal. We should mail these things. Oh, it even says who it's made by. Who is it made by? We should mail these to Wes. I bet he loves these things. Just like he likes the bolt-on battery cable ends. Neo. SAE APR FOR? Oh, it says negative. Not Neo. Well, that's probably why they had to put the screw in there, because that was for the negative, and they had it on the positive. Oh, don't worry. They both say negative. Got two negatives out of the deal. All right, let's take the Never Start out of here. See if our 1-year warranty's up. All right, our heater hoses are undone. Fuel hoses nipped. That stuff is super stinky. Battery cables are undone. We probably got one battery cable going down to the starter. I don't know what that was that just dropped. Oh yeah, that one's going to the starter. Perfect. Guessing we're gonna have to nip some of these wires here. They're all aftermarket, and if somebody's gonna reuse this cab, they're gonna run a new harness anyway, because There's a lot of butchery going on here. Some Scotch locks. There's some butt splices. There's some electrical tape. Yeah, we're just gonna cut up that harness. And really all we're doing is cutting the stuff going to the engine. All these headlight connections, they can stay in place. That's why they call them oil bath air cleaners, because every time you take them off, you take a bath in oil. Got way too many feds on it. Mother trucker! Pretty yellow valve covers and blue air cleaner. Ugh. It's like Jeff Gordon on this thing. It's like an air cleaner inside of an air cleaner. The good news is, mice drown in these air cleaners. Where a dry type, they make a house. Is she free? Oh yeah. Let freedom ring on the old WC4FB. You can tell it's a truck carburetor by the way that it is.
You can tell that it's an aspen tree because of the way it is.
And also because it's got a governor on it. Governor? Governor.
Hello, Governor.
Alright, I'm gonna deal with this oil bath air cleaner. Not in here. I think she's done draining. Let's try to get this flexi hose out of here. Alright, is it gonna be easier to pull the fan off or the shroud? I'm thinking the shroud. Pull ourselves a radiator. Oh my word. Not light. Does not help it's caught on the fan shroud. Jamie Christmas. It weighs as much as a Honda VTEC. Now we can take the fan shroud out. I think I'm gonna pull that fan off just so it don't get caught on anything. It's usually the furthest most pointed thing that gets damaged. It gets in the way, you know what I'm saying. Maybe it's not gonna come off. What's your problem? I don't suggest hitting your fan with a hammer. Desperate measures call for desperate hammering. Desperate situations cause for desperate measures. That's what it is. Oh, for cheese and rice. What is holding you on? Ow! Fudge. Not the first time I got my finger in a fan.
It was at this moment that he knew. He f***ed up.
I know what'll make me feel better, cutting some wires. Definitely could have done that one from the alternator. I'm gonna be a nice guy and undo the choke cable though. Flathead screws for dumb. Water temp wire, oh, we'll be a nice guy. Unclip that, unless it gets wrapped up in something down here. Shaped valve covers got little clips for all the wires are on. How neat is that?
How neat is that?
Coil wire, done. Tech tip of the day, don't drop your GoPro in a bucket of antifreeze. Get one of these fancy cutters for cutting giant vacuum hoses. And I'm gonna move that catch pan full of coolant now. Oh weird, it's full of hardware too. Getting snipped. I think we're due for a new one of these. She's getting a little dull. Kind of like these videos. Oh, throttle linkage, that's already unhooked. Not what you want to see. I feel like there's supposed to be a clip there, not some welding wire. This truck did come from west of 281, so I'm not surprised. Let's give the old Irwin power slots the real test, see if we can't cut these PTO cables. Come on now. Look at that. These things, not a paid promotion. The old Irwin power slot side cutters. Real good. One more time. Oh, this one maybe not so much. Come on, baby. Real close. You know, you want to do it. There we go. So you do that with your regular Chinese side cutters. I don't know where these are made, but they're good. Even if they're foreign jobbies. Mystery wires going to the starter. Deleted. So the steering shaft, right there, goes directly to the box. There's no rag joint, no slider, nothing. So we're gonna get in there with our reciprocating saw and go cut that off. Instead of unbolting it the right way. Nobody's ever gonna use these big clunky manual steering boxes anyhow. I say nobody, but there's some guy screaming, I need that. Unfortunately, this truck will no longer steer. Whee! Whee! Ooh, new screwdriver? Oh, new screwdriver with a busted handle? Nice. I wonder if that coil is still good. Probably. Kind of want to keep that cool Chelsea PTO lever for something that I'll never do. Oh! Rick's East Side Standard. Minot, North Dakota. Definitely keeping that. Neato. Now we get these two fancy body mounts here, which is basically just a really long bolt with a spring, so it's got some give in either direction. We're gonna cut those with a torch. Well, we could maybe take them off. We'll see. We'll try it with an impact, just so we don't start a fire. Oh, 7/16 bolts. We should have a 11/16 hex on the other end, right? Right? What is going on down there? Is it rusted off? I don't know. Go the other way. Now it's doing something. You know what it's doing? It's saying cut me off with a torch. Got the passenger side out. Ooh, fine thread even. So what's going on this one is the encapsulated nut thinger spinning, and there's no good way to hold it. And by no good way, I mean I'm not looking for a way to hold it. Torch it is. We gotta get the torch out anyhow. May as well murder some clutch and brake pedals while we got her out. I'm second guessing that decision. I don't want to light all that raccoon poop on fire. Flaming raccoon poop is very aromatic. Death wheel it is. Let's do a shifter and a handbrake as well. Dang it, I had to sacrifice a cutting disc. What is in this mystery mint chocolate chip ice cream bowl? Ooh. Some type of tar paper, sealant, something or other. Trash is what that is. We're getting there. We got a couple cab mounts. I just found the rears. They are right there. Hopefully they spin out. Well, likely there's a pair in the front, right about at the firewall too. Duff pointed them out. They're right there. Let's see how that goes. Well, the body bolts are just spinning, so we're gonna get the anti-spin gas axe out. We'll make them so that they are disconnected and such. Now I just gotta cut 3 more. Let's hope the gas tank don't go boom. Always light your torch on a fuel tank. How does the spark fall inside of my glove? Just noticed this custom door handle. Woo! I think this is off of 67 to 72. Oh, you gotta check the other side out though. Real nice.
Really nice.
I think that is straight off the farm. Nothing but the finest for the old dump truck. Let's give her the old shake test. Oh, it does not want to move. That's a heavy cab or it's bolted down yet. Man, usually you can rock them. There's not another set, is there? I don't see nothing. So this thing's got a head lift hoist. And what a head lift is a vertical cylinder at the front of the box, hence head lift. The other style that we're familiar with around here with grain trucks is a scissor lift style. So it's kind of sits at an angle, and then it's got a scissor type mechanism that keeps it all in line, and that's what pushes the box up. And this fancy pipe here is what you put in place to hold the bed up. I'm not sure why this bed isn't coming all the way down. Either it's got real good seals in the cylinder or something is stuck in the cylinder or the pivot. I'm hoping it's just a really good cylinder. Speaking of that cylinder, I'm guessing it's a Anthony Telluramic, so it'll be a multi-stage cylinder. Raising it up, it's not just one ram, it's multiple progressively smaller cylinders inside of each other. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, what I'm saying now is I'm cutting the bumper off. Because otherwise when we lift the cab up, these fenders are going to want to hit that bumper. And nobody's going to be using that bumper anyway, so we're just going to torch the frame horns off. Get that out of the way. Let's not pinch off our torch hoses, eh? You wouldn't want to drop that on your toe. Oh no. What is your problem? Alright, one piece of the puzzle out of the way. Oh, that's a bulky one. Maybe we can get the front to tip a little bit. A little more leverage up here. Oh yeah. Front of the cab is loose. Rest of the cab, not so much. The washers are still on the front cab mount, so I'm going to try to beat them out of there. Try to knock the bolt up. Alright, we got both of them front mounts. We got the washers off them, the washers off the back ones. It's got to move now. Or we just stab the forks right through the windows. The old telehandler will make do. Alright, come on, baby. Oh. For cheese and rice. I just noticed these trucks have running boards, like built onto the cab. And all the other trucks, I don't think do. I think it just stops at the rocker panel. Let's go put the forks and the telehandler under said running board. Murder that thing. Nice and easy. Not having it. It's going, ain't it? Oh yeah. Must just be that heavy. Door pin sag? I don't know what you're talking about. Windows roll down nice. We just gotta figure out some type of contraption to lift this thing off of here. I've done this dozens of times, but do something different every time, it seems like. I don't know why. Mixing it up, I guess. Or because none of them work that great. We also didn't have a telehandler every other time. It's been a while since we ripped a cab off a chassis. This is... Oh yeah, and I think this latches your tailgate. That rod runs all the way to the back. And if you had a tailgate, these lashes would hold her in place. And then you have some safety chains so it couldn't tip all the way down. Or if you were just dumping gravel, I think you could have it so it'd swing up. I think. Not a big gravel truck guy, more of a grain truck guy. We gotta get this window down though. Fish a board through here. Or a rope. Or something. Man, those work real good. So here's the plan. We're gonna take this crossbar from pallet racking, run that through the window, and then do the rest with ratchet straps. It's gonna be perfect. I have supervision rear. He's got his lifting belt on in case he's got to lift it off there. That is the strangest lift I've ever seen. That ain't going nowhere. Actually, we want it to go somewhere. Did we both do
That
that?
are still attached to the frame.
Are we both idiots?
Uh-huh. Most certainly.
Don't put your fingers in there.
In the face!
There's nothing very solid up here. Somebody will be able to patch that up.
Looks like somebody already has.
And they painted back over it.
What the?
Grab there and then yeah, pull back.
It still feels.
It's
That brake pedal might bite us a little bit just because it's kind of in there yet.
so what's going on right now is the clutch is caught on the floor, so we're gonna let the cab down, hopefully get it pulled out. I think that was it.
We're home free on this now.
Think it'll clear?
Yeah.
Sarcasm. She's a little chewy there. Other side's pretty good, but the cab support and rockers not so much. We did forget there must be multiple fuel tanks, so there's a switch selector valve. We had to cut those too. Yeah, she needs some help on the. Oh, there's the door hinge right there. Easy access. And then there's the cab corners, or where they would have been. Oh, it had the tank in the cab. We definitely failed to cut that one. Telehandler don't care. All right, there it is. Caterpillar yellow W block. Much easier to work. Oh, Jimmy, we snapped the dipstick off. Wonder how much water's in it. Oh no, she's full and black. Perfect. Somebody had all the spark plugs off. I wonder if the water got high enough. I noticed the PTO setup was pretty rusty down there. If water got in the transmission, and that's why the wheels don't turn. And that also might keep the engine from turning, but we shall see. One thing I did notice, this water pump, they're big and ugly on these W blocks, but I thought they were like bigger and bulkier on trucks, so hopefully this is like some super sport car engine, something or other. We'll find out. We'll run some numbers if we can find them. Just kidding. No stamping numbers. It's never been stamped. It's an over-the-counter replacement block. ZL1, fantastic stuff. Now that we got that silly cab out of the way, let's take a look at this thing. We did run the numbers. Disappointment. 348. I'm pretty sure I checked, and the 409 should have the dipstick on that side, but somebody could have swapped the oil pan, unfortunately. It is not numbers matching. The part number on the block is 3798962, which comes out to 62 to 65, 348 truck engine. So no 62 Impala Super Sport 409 dual quad engine, unfortunately, but she's still a W block. We'll save her. We know it's got oil in it. Let's put a bar on it or hook a battery up or do something. See if we can't get her to crank over. Doesn't look like there's a bolt on the front we can turn on. Is there an inspection cover down there? I don't know. I don't want to crawl under there. I'm sick of crawling up and down today. Let's just get right after it and hook up a battery, see what happens. We should be able to just take that, hook to a battery. One of these should be purple, but they're not. We got two blues and an orange. All right, grab a ground cable and a battery. Looks like I Am Groot is our battery sponsor this week. You too can be a battery sponsor at mortskerepair.com. Check this deal out. We got mini pry bars. They're magnetic, just like the screwdrivers, and they work great for cleaning holes out, accessory holes on the front of your 348 heads, so that you can put a bolt in there and hook up a ground clamp. Ground clamp, ground cable. You can get yours at mortske.com. There we go. Perfect. This thing still stinks like mice. Oh, it's probably all the turds on the intake. Nothing. Let's try wire number 2. Ooh, it's trying. Wonder if that starter didn't sit underwater as well. Well, let's pull some spark plugs out. Spray some lube down the holes. Go from there. So much easier to remove spark plugs when the engine's sitting out in the open. Let's give them all a shot of Croil, just like everybody says you gotta do. Think she'll turn over? I'll let that stuff sit in there for like a solid 90 seconds. Love stuck engines. Love them. All the spark plugs look good. Cylinders all check out. I guess we'll pull an inspection cover and hook El Jefe up. Anybody want to take bets on how much mouse house action's going on down here? I can just sense. Oh yeah, or by the fact that I can put my thumb through it. How much activity's going on in there? Oh yeah, she's packed. Oh, gross. It's full. All right. Why am I not wearing gloves? Because I'm smart. That's what my mama says. No, she calls me an idiot too. Let's put El Jefe on here and see what we can do. Oh, it's not looking good for the home team. Cheese and rice. Come on, baby, play nice. Oh, not good. How about a big old bar on the teeth? There we go. Maybe. No. Remember how earlier I said the back wheels weren't turning and maybe it's because the transmission got full of water and got rusty? Well, if the input shaft doesn't turn on the transmission, then the engine's not going to turn either. So let's pop the cover off that transmission and see just how bad it is in there. Hopefully it's terrible. We take the transmission off, engine turns over. Oh, that's what we like to see. She's a little crusty in there. Definitely seen some humidity. Let's do some prying on some teeth. See what turns and what doesn't. The sucky part about these transmissions is the bolts come through the bell housing that way. So getting them out is a real treat. Maybe this inspection cover will help out though. What happens when I pry on the input shaft? Oh yeah, she's stuck. Let's see if the mouse house goes right to the top. Hey, it doesn't. You can see our clutch fork going into our throwout bearing and the back of our clutch in there. All the goodness going on. But we can't get at these top two bolts, so let's take those out. We're gonna have to take our drive shaft off. I can't pull the whole bell housing off at this time because that's got our engine mounts in it. So if we take those out, then our engine's just gonna be flopping all over, and we don't want that just yet. So let's see if we can't get our transmission off of there. Woo, we got some water. I'm guessing that bolt, oh yeah, definitely seals up the transmission. Well, that's fun. At some point, I would imagine we're going to get the oil, maybe? Let's plan ahead for that and get a bucket for oil. Yeah, quite a bit of water run out of that thing when we pulled that bottom bolt on that side. This driver's side has a clutch fork in the way to get at that bolt, so we're going to have to get creative. Maybe we could take that pivot pin out, ball, stud, whatever, and then sneak that fork out of there. fork and A. Let's give her a whirl. Well, I got 4 bolts out of there, but she's rigid yet. What could be holding it? Probably another bolt. Let's hit it with a hammer. Cheese and rice. Well then, let's see what Bob can figure out. Wow. I don't get it. Never mind the fact that the park brake's been smoldering away for 15 minutes. Oh, sweet. Dropped our torch and punctured the acetylene hose. Oh, what a mess. I think it's just caught on that input shaft bearing retainer. The prying options aren't nearly so good on the driver's side here. So many clutch and brake linkages and hoses in the way. What if we wedge this chisel in there? Dang. She's solid. Right in the bucket of oil. Why wouldn't it? Just occurred to me, this thing could very well be hung up on the splines on the clutch. I think I'd rather drop a chisel in the bucket of oil than into whatever's in the bottom of that transmission. We better fish that out before I forget. I think it's time to have a sandwich and recoup. Get a game plan. I think I'm just going to cut the input shaft off this transmission, but since our torch hose got pinched, got a hole in it, we're going to have to fix that. Or we just go steal Mojo's torch. That seems like a better idea. I don't feel like fixing a torch hose. The thing is in there. Ready? What the French was it? Was it the input shaft? Had to have been. What do you think? Yeah. Good grief. Well, we still ain't. Oh no! You lost all the needles for our bearing. Good grief. Oh, that's what was hanging up. There was one more bolt.
Hey.
Good thing it's not going back together. What was that? What was it? Oh. How the heck would you?
So it was so packed full of grease I couldn't see it.
Oh, is that stuck too? Grab your bar. So apparently there was a fifth bolt down here, and it was so packed full of grease we couldn't see it. And like I said, I've never seen one that's had 5, so the more you know. Anyway, this transmission was junk, and I think these bell housings are meant for like a 13-inch clutch as opposed to your standard 11-inch, so nothing harmed there. It's just a bunch of truck junk. Well, now, see if our engine turns over. See what happens. Oh, it's going. She's gonna go. You might be rebuilding a starter tomorrow.
There you go. Yeah.
We got her. She sounds a little dry. That one don't sound too good. Well, I guess we're gonna have to pull some valve covers off and see what's going on. But anyway, it's loose, so that's a win. First thing to do, since we don't have any compression, is we're gonna take the valve covers off because it's the easiest thing to do, and we'll make sure everything's moving up and down and not stuck or bent or missing or damaged or collapsed or rusted off or anything else we can imagine. So, looks like we need a Phillips screwdriver. We should be able to get these off of there, hopefully. GM hadn't quite figured out how to use a hex-headed bolt yet for valve covers. They thought everybody had a Phillips screwdriver in their pocket, which they probably did in 1959. Let's see what we got going on underneath these Caterpillar D9 dozer valve covers. Pretty clean. I don't know. Is that a jam nut they put on that one? That one seems a little loose. Maybe that's just the way they're adjusted. Well, let's go check out the other side. Oh boy. Really siliconed this one on. Don't tear that valve cover gasket. Everything looks pretty good on this side. No jam nut over here. Valve covers are nice and clean on the inside. As you can tell by the cat dozer paint, these things were off at some point and cleaned up and painted, so maybe that was shortly before it was parked. Threw some Croil in it last night before we punched out, so I'm sure that made everything all better. Let's crank it over and see that everything's moving up and down in the old valve train. Oh, there's our issue. This whole thing looks like it's walking up and down. Look at this though. I'm getting oil. Let's check on the driver's side while we're at it. Same deal, getting oil over here. Everything's moving. There's our noise. Let's see if we can't figure out what's going on there. It doesn't look like it's any looser than the other ones. Actually, it looks like it's tighter. There's more threads showing above the nut. Let's take that nut off there and see what we can find. Well, I'm stumped. Haven't found anything yet. The height of each of the rocker arm bolts is the same. I was wondering if that had pulled out. Pulled the push rod out, looks straight, not bent. I checked the height from the head mating surface to the top of the spring. This one's a slight amount lower, like 14 thou, not a ton. So maybe we'll try prying up on that. And then I think we're just gonna swap rocker arms, and they both look the same between the intake and the exhaust. So I don't know what we're seeing here, what this phenomena is. Looks like she's all the way up. Oh, that's what it was. Sticky valve. Idiot. Like we haven't seen that before. Well, let's huck some Croil on it. See if we can't fix it. Hopefully it didn't smash the piston into it and bend it. Probably did. That'll do it. We might as well hit them all over up here. Probably been a few days since these things been lubricated. I did notice it was really faded when we were taking the bumper off, that the tags on the thing were 2007. So last year this thing was tagged. It's 2007. So 17 years this thing's been parked. But like any good old farm truck and podunk, I'm guessing it was run for a few years after the tags expired. So she's probably been sitting for 15 or so years. All right, let's see if we can't get a valve to come back to life. Here goes nothing. Same deal. We'll try prying on it, working her back and forth, see what happens. Ooh, she might be bent. That seems more than just sticky. Doesn't sound as angry, but it's still pretty sticky. Dang. Good grief, we got a geyser coming out of number 8 over here. We struck oil, Jed.
That swamp of yours is full of oil.
I could have told you that.
We better cap that well off. We don't want to lose all our inheritance there. There we go. All better. I'm afraid that chirp that we're hearing is a bent valve stem. Yeah. I don't think it's getting much better. I'm afraid we're gonna have to do our favorite thing. No, not tear apart an engine. That too. We're gonna have to do some pressure washing, get all the crap off of here, and then pull it apart, and then address said valve. That thing is just, it's not sticky. It's bent. It was sticky, and then it got bent, and now it's no go. So I think we're gonna have to pull a head off. And I definitely don't have a head gasket set for a W block around. Probably, maybe, likely do somewhere if I dug deep enough. But that number 2 intake valve is definitely bent. You can tell by the way that it sounds, it's not getting any better. And it's not getting any less sticky. We could just pull that spark plug out, throw everything together and run it off 7, but it's a W block. You know, if it was a 305 Chevy, I'd definitely wing it like that. But the old 348 here deserves better. Not much, but a little bit better. Just for S's and G's, I pulled the numbers on the heads, 3815857, which comes up as a 58 to 62 truck head. So, yeah, she's a industrial slash truck engine. No 62 high performance 409 stuff here. Wah, wah, wah. You know how just a moment ago I told you I was gonna pressure wash this thing? Well, against my better judgment, we're just gonna rip into it. We're all about efficiency here, and I'd have to wheel it around out back and let it dry off. And it'd probably be more efficient if it was clean, but we're not fishermen. So let's rip into this thing. I'm guessing we're gonna have to pull the distributor and then pull the intake and then pull the head. And before I do that, probably pull the manifold. And maybe we'll cut the exhaust pipe off. I don't know. I'm gonna do it. You're gonna watch. And I appreciates that about you.
Hey, that's what I appreciates about you.
Before I remove that shimmer, we're gonna set her to top dead center, because that's what the professionals probably do. Not that we are one, but anyway. It's there. And it might be the top dead center of 7 or 11 or whatever. Here we go. It's definitely not pointed at number 1. It really doesn't matter where you point it, so long as you point it in the same spot when you put it all back together. All right, we're gonna spin it 180. Okay, it's pointing at number 2. Whatever. I would think it should be pointing at number 1. What do I know? So the lifter valley looks pretty good, but the intake runners are full of crap, and that intake gasket might not be salvageable. So we got some cleanup to do in there. Well, let's get this head pulled off. That's what we're in here for. How in the French? So there's our stuck one, which we got to take out. But I was just glancing down these intake runners. There's an extra valve head in there. Oh. I'm guessing somebody dropped the valve and couldn't get that one out of there, so they just left it hanging out in there. Interesting. Well, that might be why that one is stuck. She looks a little rustier than the others. Definitely kissed that piston and bent it. Whoops. Good news is we got a spare valve head. That's interesting. Because they had to know that it was missing. It's funny it didn't drop into the piston, but maybe it's been bored. We'll find out. Got our valve spring off. This thing is stuck. It's not doing any help to our guide either. She went to zinging across the floor. I don't know, looks pretty straight to me. But that looks pretty rusty to me. Let's go chuck her up in the lathe and see what it looks like. Everyone should have a lathe. Not for doing lathe things, but just for doing stupid things like this. Watch Wes work, he'd be doing stuff that's way cooler. Is there like a way to put this in neutral? No, let's just crank her on. Don't even look bent. It's probably a special tool for checking to see if your crap's bent. We use the old eyeball test. Oh yeah. She's got some run out. Very scientific test. It touches there, doesn't touch there. Touches there, doesn't touch there. As if our scientific test of that it was stuck in the head wasn't good enough. You know, had to get the lathe out. Get some lathe action. Everybody needs to get lathed. Oh, that's a sticker option for us. We don't want to say I got lathed by Mortske Repair. That would be awkward. What was Mojo making here? Who knows? Mojo things. Mojo likes using that thing. He's got like a twin to it at his house. He likes using that one more, but I force him to use this one because we have it. Everybody needs to get lathed. I do have some other 348 heads laying around, so I'm gonna go see if they got the same size intake valve and see if we can't steal one out of that. I'm gonna go look at those. Just my luck. The other heads I grabbed for 58 to 61 W block. One was missing all the valves. I failed to check that. This one wasn't. Just grab the valves out of there. They're different size. So we're gonna do some valve straightening. First time doing this. You ever done this before? No comment? You don't want to incriminate yourself?
You know what I would do?
What would you do?
I'd put it back in the head.
And then tap it while it's in there?
And hit it while it's in there. And drive on this. And slide in.
That's what the piston tried to do and it bent it.
Yeah, but the piston is working at a different angle.
Yeah.
Yeah, piston is.
Well, I had a bar on the top side and was pulling it up closed, and I'd turn the engine over and I'd pull it up closed and it wouldn't. So I feel like tapping on it. We can try it. Ain't gonna hurt. We can always come back and do this. Mojo is the voice of reason. What do you got, a special hammer?
Yeah.
A giant 1.25" pin? Oh, it's a combination tool?
Yeah.
I don't know that we want a big hammer, do we? I'm good at snapping valves off with a small hammer. Well, that's gonna end the day here at Mortske Repair. Got her touched up with the old flap disc. Let's see if she slides through now. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
She's just mushroomed up at the end. All right. What the French? How come it goes up and down now? Put it back together?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
You want to hit it anyway?
You ready?
Is it already? It's already in there.
You think that she's sealed up good enough?
I mean, good enough for the girls we go with.
Okay, well, do you wanna clean that stuff out of there first?
Well, you gonna scrape some rust out?
Well, yeah.
What do you want? You want a screwdriver?
Yes,
There you go. Did you make a mess?
Yes, I sure did. See? Got a little engine oil, put on the valve guide and valve and stick her back together.
Good as new. All right, let her up slow. Don't pinch my finger.
You gonna holler if I do?
I'm gonna stab you with a screwdriver.
Oh, sure.
Throw her back on, I guess. I'm gonna vacuum a little crap out of here first and vacuum that head and maybe blow some crud out of there and throw her back together. I should probably go look to see if I can find an intake gasket. I'm sure that multi-layer steel head gasket will be just fine. All right, I nipped the acetylene hose, my torch. I think red is for acetylene, green is for oxygen. Yep, I was right. These things are spark arresters. They're basically a check valve, or spark arresters, flash arresters. So that way, if you get a spark, it doesn't go up the hose and in the tank and go boom. I don't know if they're supposed to be at the torch head or at the tank. I've heard either way. Anyway, a lot of guys don't even run them, but I figure they're cheap insurance to make sure your tank don't go boom. So we're gonna take it apart right there. We're gonna put new ends on both of them because obviously both got to be the same length. These little notches there mean she's left-hand thread, so it's righty-loosey, lefty-tighty, doesn't it? I believe. Maybe not. It pays to know what you're doing. Oh, stupid arrestor turn. Anyway, we got to get those off the arresters so that we can properly repair my torch hose. That's when you know you got a good torch. And you get pressure leaking out a day later because you got good seals. Now, righty-tighty. Righty-loosey, lefty-tighty. I can't even say it wrong. And then we're gonna take and nip these off the same length. Make sure you put the left-hand thread one back on the acetylene, or that'll be a bad day. Get our handy-dandy hose cutter here. So we got a fresh end. There's a barb that's in here, and then over the top is this collar. Hope I got the right size ones. I think these are the same size as my air hose uses. You get these on the Amazon. These are part number 7327. That's got a 3588 on it, but ooh, those might be for 1/2 inch. We shall see. Son of a biscuit. Anyway, this is a crimper from Milton. You slide it in there and you slam this shut and you get a good crimp. It's way better than using a hose clamp like so many people do. And it's also way cheaper when you're screwing up hoses like this to patch them like this and just buy a new hose every time. I think we're gonna have to get the right ends in. I'm pretty sure these are from a 3/8 air hose and we need ones for a torch, but we'll give it a whirl because clearly I got enough of these ferrules for many, many, many repairs. It's probably about the 3rd time I've ever used this. Anyway, we gotta go trim this ferrule off of here and off of here so that we can slide that barb back in there, I think. Right? We're gonna find out. I don't know how we're gonna nick that without cutting all the way through though. This should be fun. Well, the trick is to cut just through the collar, not into the barb or that fitting. Easier said than done. Ah, there we go. Now, if we had the right size ferrule, we just crimp this together. We'll give it a whirl, but I think I got the wrong size ferrule. Actually, we're gonna do a test run. Without screwing up my hose anymore, we're gonna put one on this, try crimping it. And this is why you gotta have 2 torches in the shop, so that when this happens and you're waiting on parts, you can use mojos. There might actually be another set of hoses around here somewhere, but we ain't got time to look for those. Definitely should have put some soapy water or something on there to try to get her to slide in further, but odds are we're just gonna, well, clearly we're gonna be cutting it off anyway, so it don't really matter. Alright, these things got several different options for sizes, so you gotta figure out which one you need. Here goes nothing. Let's see how that looks. Yep, definitely not the right one. Let's test that guy. That's how it should look. We gotta get the right size ferrules. Hopefully that part number is the same part number we need. So there you go, that's how you would fix it if you had the right size ferrules, but I don't. I just have ferrules for 3/8 air hose. So what most cowboys do, take this ferrule off, slide this back in your hose, put a hose clamp on it. But we're not that cowboyish. We're not west of 281 cowboyish. All right, let's get back to working on a truck and not show you how to improperly repair your torch hoses. Well, dug through my gasket stash, and guess what I got? Valve cover gaskets, which they look great. Went on O'Reilly's and it said I could have intake gaskets tomorrow, which was yesterday. And then late last night they sent me, after I placed the order, saying, oh yeah, you won't get those till Thursday. And today is Wednesday. They said to get them to me Wednesday. We ain't got time for that, so we're gonna stick it back together. And I'm not gonna rant about how O'Reilly's dupes you saying, yeah, we can get these to you the next day. And then they don't. So, yeah. We're gonna just DD Schmoo shop this whole thing together, because the intake gaskets are bad. Real bad. Look at this. So it looks like there's a coolant passage right there, and the hole is right there. So I don't know if they got that wrong, left or right or what. But our intake gasket stops about there, starts right there, stops there, and then starts there again. But if we just put enough schmoo on it, should be fine. I saved the China walls, kinda, maybe. I did start scraping on that thing, so hopefully that doesn't bite us. If nothing else, I guess we tear it all apart again on Thursday when the parts get here and hate our lives even more. All right, let's throw this thing together so we can hear it run, even with a giant vacuum leak. I wish this tire wasn't in there. There's your problem. The push rods are different length between the intakes and the exhaust. I'm an idiot. Maybe? They gotta be different lengths, aren't they? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So, on a small block Chevrolet, the push rods for the intake and the exhaust are the same length. On a big block, such as we have here, they're longer and shorter. I'm guessing the exhausts are longer, because that's a longer distance between there and there than it is from there and there. Because you can see how all the rocker arms are offset. They're not in a row. You know what I'm saying? All right, here's the longer ones. We're putting those on the exhausts. I bet I'm not the first person to ever do that. Definitely not a big block expert. Didn't need to tell you though. We can adjust those later. I'm gonna double check just in case. Make sure we're not missing any intake valves. The exhaust we can't check so easy because it's got an exhaust manifold. But in order for an exhaust valve head to get over to there, it would have to get broken off, get pushed up past the intake valve, come across the intake and into there. So I think the likelihood is that's pretty rare. And the likelihood of somebody doing a valve job and not getting the old valve head out of there is pretty rare too, but we've proven that in fact is a thing, apparently. I'd like to know the machine shop that did that. That's some top-notch work. I suppose I thought it would be funny. They knew that there would be a YouTube video made 40 years later on it, I'm sure. All right, I'm gonna go put my DD Schmoo Shop apparel on, which is a torn up flannel shirt, a terrible mustache, some big long scraggly nasty dreadlocks, and a can of high temp silicone, except for I don't think I own any. We just have Right Stuff. Right Stuff it is. All right, liberal schmooing going away. Going away? Going at it? I don't know. Going on. We were doing things until we ran out of schmoo. Die Speed Spop should make shirts that say Schmoo You. You could offer weekend classes. Oh yeah, this is some good stuff. This is the right stuff. This intake manifold is not gonna want to come off. Anybody who's worked with this stuff knows that it's aggressive. Feel sorry for whoever has to take this intake off next. Probably me. Shmoo, shmoo, it's all we do. Dee hack shop for me and you. Basically, adult finger painting is all his channel is. For kids who can't stay inside the lines. What a work of art we got going on here, right, Dan? Let me go get another crayon, Dan. Sad part is I think a tube of this stuff is more expensive than the intake gaskets. All right, behemoth intake time. Sure enough, 2 different length intake bolts. Silly thing. I'm not positive, but I think these distributors are different than a small block and a big block Chevrolet. They're kind of all by themselves, it looks like. All right, that fitting was about like that, and the rotor was facing at number 2. Dang it. Now it's facing at number 6. I'd say let's do it the right way, but let's do it the Mortske way. Let's point it at number 1, where I think it should be pointing. Just gonna bump this thing over until that distributor drops down. It's not currently lining up with the oil pump drive, but watch this little neat trick. It's already pointing the direction it's got to go. It's going to turn with the camshaft. The oil pump's going to stay stationary. So as this turns, once it lines up with the oil pump shaft, it'll clunk, drop right in place. Or we'll make a giant mess. And there's top dead center, and it's pointing straight ahead. Not where we want it, but why? Why does everything got to be so hard? There's where we want it. There's top dead center. It's pointing at 1. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect.
Es perfección.
All right, let's bolt that down and move on to the carburetor. Look at this big old hideous distributor bolt down. The crappy part about these is they aren't slotted, so you can't just slide it out of the way and tickle that distributor right out of there. You gotta remove the whole dang thing. Silliness. Tell you what, GM, you've come a long way since developing this thing in 1958. We got compression on 1, 3, 5, and 7, so that means that they should all have their valve heads in there. So it's a 17 valve headed engine. Alrighty, carburetor time. think I'm gonna go dig through my stash, see if I got an Edelbrock, because that should just bolt right on here. And this thing's got that big ugly AFB style with a Rochester or whatever the thing is with a governor on it. And we don't want no stinking governor. And also it's sat for 17 years, give or take. So I'm gonna see what I can find. All right, here's what we're bolting on. Edelbrock 1406, came off my station wagon. We swapped it on the side of the road in Fort Worth, Texas, because we thought that's what the issue was, and it turned out to be a bad set of new points. Anyway, I'm gonna talk about gaskets. So this Edelbrock will bolt right up here, but you can see the intake doesn't have the same outline as the old Edelbrock. You can see how much smaller that gasket is. This one completely hides this gasket for the most part. And this one's shot. So I dug through my stash, and this is what we got. I don't know. It's off some other AFB. And you can see that one covers up all that we need covered up, and even a little bit more. So, something to watch for. I've unfortunately done this myself, where you're just like, oh, it's an AFB style carb, we're gonna bolt another one on, good to go. No, you gotta watch out. Make sure there's no passageways that aren't blocked. And then you also wanna put this on there and cycle it, make sure your butterflies don't hit your gasket, which I'm not entirely sure that we're gonna have no issues there. We'll see. For what we're doing here, we probably don't need to open the 4 barrels. And they're definitely not gonna open. Son of a biscuit. Well, I'm gonna go dig through the stash and look for an adapter. Not what I want to do, but I think it's what we gotta do. Stuff that you don't plan for. I should just throw that other carburetor back on here, but I'm sure that thing's hot garbage. I wish I had a distributor to drop in, but I don't really. I mean, I do, but I'm not gonna go pull it out of another engine. That would be cheating. I just found out that I have way more 4-barrel to 2-barrel and 2-barrel to different 2-barrel adapters than I care to mention. So anyway, here's what I got here. I don't have a part number for it. There's a bunch of different brands. Mr. Gasket's a pretty common one, but anyway, it's a square bore or spread bore adapter. So we don't need that, but we're gonna make that work. So I'm gonna put some Vaseline on these gaskets so that it comes back apart and we can salvage them. Let's throw this thing together. I think we gotta take these studs out because we're gonna need longer studs that go all the way through, or bolts. And that's not gonna work. Son of a... Let me show you what we got going on here. So this might work for a while, but see how you get that gap right there? You can't have that. Eventually, that's gonna vibrate enough and heat and clamp, and it's gonna tear out and you're gonna get a big old vacuum leak. So back to the drawing boards. Son of a biscuit. If only I had a 348 intake that was set up for 3 deuces. You could also get these things with the dual quad option on a 409. 2 Rochester 4 barrels, or AFBs. Probably AFBs. Next up, my buddy Swappy made this thing up. I don't know, it's supposed to add some horsepower. It's really just a spacer instead of an adapter, but in this case it's hopefully going to be an adapter. But anyway, it's all flat across the bottom, so it should made up the way we need it to. And, oh, I was going to say it's the wrong bolt pattern. Son of a... I don't like carb spacers. I don't like carb adapters. Spacers are probably okay. They make horsepower, allegedly. Adapters, not so much. If you need an adapter, it should be temporary. But there's nothing more permanent than a temporary carb adapter. You should get either the right carburetor or the right intake. In this case, we should probably order an aluminum intake for this carburetor, because I have zero desire to rebuild that carburetor. But we can't do that because we don't have time, and I don't have any desire to do that. If old Swappy would have made this thing a dual bolt pattern, it would be fine. But these Edelbrock's got 2 bolt patterns. He's got it set up for the big boy pattern. And we got the small boy bolt pattern. All right, keep digging, but I think I'm about out of options here. Unless I get one of my 4-barrel to 2-barrel adapters on there and put a 2-barrel carb on it. I'm not thoroughly excited about any of the solutions we found, so we're just gonna put the old one back on here. And if that carburetor doesn't work, then we'll have to figure out a different solution. I'm sure it'll be just fine. You know what we should do before we get too far? Check to see if the points are functioning, if we got spark. All right, I'm gonna go look for a coil wire. Sure looks like there was one on here not that long ago. Somebody steal it, or did I drop it? I bet we can find a replacement. Here we go. Freshish coil wire. Why does that not go in there? There we go. Let's check for some spark before we get some spark plugs in it. What are the odds? It's only been sitting for 17 years. Well, no spark. Imagine that. We know what fixes that though. The old Mortske flick. Did notice this thing's got my favorite unit points in it. Sarcasm with the favorite part, because they're really hard to flick. Yeah, there's power in there. You can tell by the way that arcs when you stick the screwdriver in there. Good grief. The unit points don't like it when you flick them. You just can't get in there to flick them is what I'm saying. So let's take the rotor off. Maybe that'll give us some access. So much more room for activities.
So much aerobics in here. So many activities.
Not really. Where's our Mortske flick screwdriver at? Get your Mortske flick screwdriver at mortske.com. Now let's hook power to them. Snap them again a couple times. Oh, there we're getting some spark. I think it's working now. Let's check her now. Still nothing. How about now? Oh yeah! Good spark. All right, let's throw this all back together, throw some spark plugs in it, and figure out a fuel source. Did you know the firing order on a 348-49 is the same as a small block Chevy? I figured it was, but I double checked on the intake, and sure enough, 1843, 65, 72. All right, I'm gonna look for a clickety-clack and a auxiliary tank and some hose, and we'll get some fuel hooked up to this thing and watch it spurt everywhere out of that carburetor. Let's send power to this fuel pump and see where it sprays. Oh, let me get my carburetor adjusting device ready. Don't leak. Hey! The accelerator pump is accelerating. Let's put the return spring back on it. Oh, okay, hold on. Hold the phone. Now she's squirting everywhere. Did we fix it? No doubt the needle and seat was stuck, like always. Alright, let's light this thing off. Let's get this party started. Is that battery dead? Yeah, well, hook the coil wire up, dummy. Now she's flooded for sure. Slingshot engaged.
Slingshot engaged.
Right. No more gas. I can smell it. It's probably from that giant pool on the intake. Let's double check we're getting spark. Let's not check for spark on the intake where all that gas is sitting, however. Real good spark. Come on, my guy! You can do it. I wonder if that starter is the same as a small block Chevy. I mean, just in case the starter's bad. We need to spin over faster. I'm gonna check this battery situation out. Seems like it could turn over faster. Let's test her out. I mean, it ain't bad. You know what's gonna expedite this process? 24 volts. I'm gonna go round up another battery and some battery cables. We're gonna do the right thing. Really zing this son of a biscuit over. Because some dummy pulled the transmission out, so now we can't pull start it. Can you imagine dragging this thing around with Bernie? He would not be happy. Now let's see how fast she turns over. Much faster. We got Once a Shade Tree backing up I Am Groot today for doubling down on the battery sponsors. How can we not burn down the shop hooking up all this electrical? We got some flamage, so, all right, a little bit of advance, see what happens. It's kind of hard to advance a stupid distributor with a hard line for the vacuum advance. So much straight flamage coming out. We got oil just geysing onto the tire over here. Let's put a valve cover on it. On that side anyway. I don't care about you guys getting sprayed with oil, but I don't want to be. You could tell this guy was definitely a dirt mover. Had a dump truck and he had Caterpillar colored valve covers on it. Oh yeah. All right. It's close. Maybe more advanced? That's a lot. Oh, we should have had a tailpipe cam. Whole bunch of rust and stuff come out of that one exhaust pipe. We're raw dogging life over here with a bare manifold spraying right onto this battery. Sorry, I Am Groot. She's gonna go. Maybe a little choke. You know you want to. Come on, baby. Hopefully that's not smoke coming out the starter and it's coming out of the head. All right. What's going on here? More advanced? Why not? That's gonna do it. That's a lot. That is a lot of advance. We're getting fuel. We're getting sparks still. Lots of spark. Are the spark plugs just wet or what? Let's check timing. And then we'll pull a spark plug. Well, the good news is, with all this oil over here, she's got plenty of oil pressure. We're not 180 off, are we? Can't be, unless it was before. Boy, we are spot on for the old timing. Pookie's here, wonder what he wants. Let's pull the spark plug out, see how wet it is. You want to be famous, Callie?
No.
Come on. You don't even have to take your clothes off this time.
Thank you. I get paid more than you do.
What's so fancy? Why is the head so oblong looking?
Race car.
Race car engine.
Race dump truck.
This thing works so fast.
That looks really dry. Indiana Jones? Do you know who Indiana Jones is?
Oh, show all your tractors.
Oh, that's a tractor bag. You got snacks in there? Ooh, a quad track? What happened to the roof? You took her under a bridge?
This is how they look.
Oh, we got Barbie and Ken.
And we got the whole fam jam here.
And we're done recording. All right, it's Ether Bunny time. Look at it's got the Ether deer on it.
That's John.
Have you ever had Barbies on your roller?
It wanted to.
It wants it.
Wants it real bad.
Real bad. We got spark. Was that laying in the belt?
Yeah, barely.
Just barely.
Just barely rubbing on it.
Woo.
Just bend it.
Well, hold on, Beckham. Just don't bend it.
You got one guy too?
Mm.
Weird. Where's it dry?
You know what that means? Need more gas.
It's not wet. Needs no spit on her.
Hawk Tua.
Hawk Tua. Spit on it.
All right.
Let's
Let's give it a whirl.
It's gas.
Hot sauce. You want to do this or do you want to give it the WFO?
Oh, I don't know.
No, don't do that. That's why I was shaking it, because of that. Wait till it turns over. Dude!
That's nice.
Why is there a bunch of sparks that come up with it down there?
It's supposed to do that. Doesn't your car do that?
Because they're electric.
Is that fun, Axel? Yeah? You want to drive it? No? You want to go play Barbies with your sisters? Yeah. Should we open the door and let the smoke out?
Yeah. Good idea.
You want to buy a dump truck?
Yeah.
Oh, I got the boring.
This one's got Wet Spot Farms mufflers. Not hooked up, they're Bluetooth. Her gonna get stuck. Are you from Mississippi or what? Her gonna get stuck. Kenny, where are you from?
There's like junk in here.
That's not junk, that's good stuff.
Junk.
All right, we went and spent the evening with Pookie and his tricycle motors. Yeah, not even organized chaos, just mass chaos. But anyway, let's see if this thing will start today. It's raining now, and so I just came in from outside. We're doing a little dirt work. Chin will throw that at the end of the video. There's a burn pit back here, a trash pit or whatever have you, and that's exactly what it collected was trash, and there's crap in there from the years, and we need room for more junk. Might actually put a building up there at some point, but it'll probably just get filled full of junk cars. So anyway, Mojo loves running the skid steer, so he's filling that hole in. Chin's doing a little work on a building outside, and I would imagine if this rain keeps up, they'll both be sneaking inside here as well. But anyway, let's see if this thing will fire up today. Hopefully it does, and then I think we'll pull this thing out and we'll pressure wash it. Maybe fire it up again one more time, and then throw her in a stand and send it on down the road, probably, because I already got a fresh rebuilt 348 sitting in the corner that I'll probably never do anything with. And I don't need two of them. And I got another core one that I got from Chin's grandpa years ago. So I don't need three 348s around. I was hoping this one would be a 409, but it's clearly not. So that's the risk we take. See if this thing will fire up. All right, we're working on big blocks. Rat motors, not mice motors. No more mice. That's the problem with having umpteen crappy cars in your yard, is you gotta deal with the mices. So this one goes to there, and this one goes to there. We're gonna start her on 24 volts again, just for S's and G's. It seemed really lazy. I don't know if that's the vacuum advance, or our timing's off, or the points are bad, or the wires are bad, or the plugs are bad, the carburetor's gummy. I really wish I could throw a different carburetor on it, but without swapping intakes or making some crazy adapter or waiting for one to show up, you don't have a lot of options. It didn't smoke a ton though, I'll give it that. I mean a little bit, but nothing terrible. There's a lot of rust on the floor. Came out of the tailpipe. Here we go. Come on, start for us today, baby. I don't think our carburetor is doing proper carburetor things. See if we can't turn that idle up a bit. Get this son of a biscuit to idle on its own. By a little bit, I mean a lot. Did I say this thing didn't smoke much? That was a lie. Yeah, the old carburetor isn't really carbureting. All right, fresh bottle of hot sauce. See if we can't get her to idle. Or not. Here we go. All right, folks, there you have it. We got a 348 Chevy to run for the first time in 17 years. Does it need a tune-up? Yes. Does it need a overhaul? Probably wouldn't hurt. Didn't see anything too scary inside. It wasn't all sludgy. Valve covers look great. Inside the heads clearly looks all right. But yeah, she needs a good cleaning and she needs a new home. If you want to own this thing, price and availability in the video description. Hit us up, mortskerepair@gmail.com. I'm going to clean up my mess here. I'm going to bolt the valve covers down. And we're going to wheel this thing out back to the pressure washer. We're going to pressure wash it all real good. Then we're going to fire it up one more time just so that all that water and everything's out of here. And then we're going to jerk it out of the frame and hopefully find a new home for this truck box. Mojo's got a dirty skid steer here, so it's loud. All right, let's put this thing back together just so we can rip it apart. Little chain peel right into that body mount. Let's see if Grandpa's old crack the whip. Ooh, come on. Nope. There we go. 60% of the time it works every time.
60% of the time it works every time.
That doesn't make sense.
What a guy, that Mojo, just ripping right into it. You gonna do it? No, looks like you're handing her over.
Good.
We know you melt if you get wet. I think we got the water out of it. You ever done much work? You been around a 348 or 409 much?
Yeah, 348s and then...
You never had a 409?
I rode in one. Brand new one.
You're a brand new one?
63 when
Were they as fast as everybody says?
well, the guy that had it was pretty proud of it. He was familiar, yeah.
Well, it's a lot cleaner than it was when we started anyway.
Yeah.
Don't go down the floor.
Because we got a little oil
Coming out of the
tube.
yeah. Means it's got oil pressure, right?
Right, yeah. Got blow by too.
Hey now. Blow by just means it's got good compression, right?
Yeah.
It's just in the wrong spot. What was the fastest car you ever rode in?
Fastest car I ever rode in.
That 56 Chevy of yours?
Yeah, it was right up there with the best of them. And then,
You never got to ride in some Lamborghini?
no, I didn't. Brother-in-law had a G2O.
Oh, that the one that kept blowing up?
Yeah.
Oh, you blew it up on him.
No. Almost crashed it for him. Maybe 14 at the time. He was going with my older sister, and so he thought we were going to go for a car ride. Oh, you could drive. There's a little icy out and went around the corner. Guess what happened? She started sliding. Came about 5 feet from hitting a big old tree. He wasn't too impressed. I didn't get to drive it again for a while. What are you trying to do? Wreck my new car?
What year GTO was that?
That had to have been in the mid-60s, I would think.
Was that you that said you helped put an engine in one of them one time or some damn thing? Maybe it was that car.
Well, no, it wasn't that car.
Oh. You got a big old son of a gun? Here's the fuel filter Mojo was talking about. They clamp on the side of the frame. They got a drain on the bottom and there's a replaceable element in there. They had a little bit narrower, longer style on the later trucks in the 70s. Ford had some too. I'm sure all the manufacturers did, but way better than the crappy little inline ones. Actually, you could have in and out. I think you could have dual. Oh, you could set up 2 tanks to it. That's what it was. Fancy. The other thing we're going to do over here is we're going to take the cap off these axles, and then we're going to try to slide the axle shaft out and see if it'll turn then, but I think it's stuck in the brakes. What do you think? She's stuck in the brakes or is stuck in the rear end?
Good question.
I'm sick of these tires not turning, so we'll alleviate that issue. Now you just give her a whop.
Okay.
This should slide right out. Ooh, a lot of water in there. Duff, that's icky.
Oh, you gonna put the cap back on?
Well, yeah, you gotta keep the grease in there.
Okay.
You don't want to smoke the bearings.
Yeah. You can go down the highway.
Let's go do the other side and hopefully she rolls. No guarantees that these are going to turn. The brakes could still be hanging up, but that eliminates the differential if anything was locked up in there, sliding the axles out. We'll hopefully make this thing roll. Pretty easy. 10 bolts, whack of a hammer, slide them out, and you're on the road. Easy to replace anyway. The hook. Looks like we're gonna need a hook and chain sponsor. It'll show up. Well, there you have it, folks. We got this old 1958 or 9 Chevrolet running for the first time in 17 years. First 348 that we've had running on the channel. Hopefully be another one in that 58 Chevy 4-door someday when we get to that. Hopefully we can get this cab out of here and somebody buys that so we don't have to cut the front end off and scrap the rest. Hopefully somebody buys the dump box and somebody buys the 348. Somebody buys it all so we can just keep buying more junk. So I appreciate all you guys. Go check out the merch, mortske.com. Go check out those mini pry bars we just got. They're freaking awesome. I'm excited about those. I know people have been asking for them, and we got 1,000 of them, so we got to move some of them. Good thing is they're mini, so they don't take up a ton of space. But go check all that merch out at mortske.com. We got some new sweatshirts coming. It's beanie cap season. We got beanie caps. We got koozies that are magnetic. We got magnetic screwdrivers. We got decals. We got super scrapers. You name it, we got it. If we don't got it, you don't need it. We appreciate all you for watching, all you people who share, comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Read every one of the comments. Appreciate that. Without you guys, we wouldn't be able to do this stuff. We wouldn't be able to buy this junk and make content for you. And so I'm living the dream here. And Duff is, and Chin, and Mojo. All these guys, we appreciate you. So thank you very much for watching. Go check out other videos. Remember, it doesn't matter how you get it done, as long as you're having fun. Any day you get to work on a W block and get it running, that's a fun time. Right, Duff? What are you working on over there? 35.6 Ford pickup? Hopefully not an OBS. All right, on to the next one.